All right, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Wellness. As you can see, we've got 4 people in here. I'm Gabe Jacobo. We got my man Austin over here, Dan Nunes right there, and Lucas Wenzel. Now, if you have been living under a rock, Dan and Lucas are working with us here at MAP on their HYROX Performance Nutrition. So we're taking over everything to get them ready to shoot for sub 60 at HYROX New York City, and just overall helping them be like the best humans they could possibly be on a daily basis. So today's episode is basically just going to kind of riff raff, talk about what's been going well, what you guys have been doing, talk about the experience so far, and everything in between. But first, I do want to get your guys' thoughts. Did you see the HYROX fall race schedule come out?
Definitely
Yeah.
saw it.
Okay, I'll start with mine. I have 2 or 3 on there that I really love, like just in terms of how they would space out and like family and things like that. Number 1, DC in early September.
Yep.
I like Denver, number 1, because it's probably going to suck to do HYROX at altitude, but also because I have a family there. And then number 3 would be Anaheim, would be a really, really cool like finisher to the year going into my age 30 year in January. So I would love to get like 3 races in before I turn 30 and go into the hardest division in HYROX. So that would be ideal, but give me your guys's off the cuff. Dan, we'll start with you.
Well, I like that DC and Boston are like, kind of tit for tat next to each other, just because for me, travel wise from New York, I can basically, save money and just take the train to both,
Yep.
which is ideal instead of like getting on planes and things like that. So they're pretty like close together so I can get some good training blocks in. And then Denver for me is also a good one just because one of my best friends, he lives there.
Oh,
And it's
nice.
just another reason for me to go and like hang out with a buddy for the weekend. And I'll probably just try and convince him to do it, even though he's not there. Yeah, he's a college teammate, so maybe if I light a fire under him, he'll want to run with me.
Yeah.
If not, I'll go out there and just hang out with him. And then I always just love going to Florida. Like anytime I can go to Florida, it's always great for me, just because my dad lives over in Miami. So if I just like fly into Tampa, race one night, and then I'll just take a quick ride over to Miami,
It's
spend the
like
weekend with
2.5
him.
hours, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like for me, taking the ride down to Florida and it's just another reason to go visit family. And like if I can get a race weekend in,
It's
why the hell
even
not?
better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For me, he knows it too. My dad's the same way. He's like, all right, so what race are you planning this trip around? I'm like, duh, all right.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, for sure. Good,
Yeah.
good deal. What about you, Lucas? What stood out?
There's a couple that I had my eye on. One, well, I always like to like make it like a little trip out of it if I can. Somewhere I haven't been, somewhere I want to go. I have been to Denver before, so I think that would be cool to go back. But the Salt Lake City one caught my attention
Yeah.
because one, I want to go there, but two, my fiance is like huge into the Mormon wives stuff and the
Yeah.
shows. So I know she would like to go. So it would be good for both of us. But then yeah, Denver and Salt Lake would be, like you guys were saying, extremely hard because I think they're both way above sea level.
Yep.
So the times wouldn't be ideal, but I think for the experience, it'd be fun. So I would like to either do one of those or maybe I was looking at Anaheim. I think Anaheim's in December. So I
Yeah.
think
Early December. Yeah.
so I think those are the ones I'm looking at right now.
For sure, for sure. Those are great races. You mentioned Boston, Dan. I would love to do Boston too. My cousin gets married in Arizona that weekend, or else I probably would put Boston in front of DC, or DC then Boston, and then same thing with Salt Lake City. Lucas, I had my bachelor trip last July in Park City, which is like an hour from Salt Lake City. So if you guys do make a trip out of it, go from Salt Lake and make your way to like Park City. It's pretty sick. It's like
Okay.
it's awesome. But what about you, Austin? You see anything that you think you'd want to run in?
I'm just listening to you guys. All you're like, oh, altitude, like you have to not be able to hit a PR. I disagree. If you do the right strategies, you can still PR anywhere.
That's true. That's true.
You're basically stripped of your electrolytes. I don't know, Dan, you played around with the salt loads. Like, well, I'm getting geeked out on the sodium potassium, seeing how you can stack these things. At altitude, it's just the same strategy. And obviously, if you're there enough time, like perfect world, you get to go in about 5 days in advance. Real
Yeah.
world, we might only be going in 1 day in advance, and now it's maybe there is no PR. Yeah,
But there is science behind that, where if you
I'd rather
show
go
up,
1 day than 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's a good little segue coming into where we're at. So Dan, you've been working with us for, I think this is going on week 2, right?
Week 2, yep.
Yeah. So you just started working with us and you went into HYROX, Washington, DC, where you got, what was it, 103?
103 and open, and then I ran a mixed doubles, hour and a half later at a 101.
Yep. That's awesome. And you got to take the train down there. You sent me a picture of you sent us a
Yes.
picture of your bag. You had all the
Yep.
food ready to go. Everything was good. And kind of talk us through what was that experience like with DC, having all the food prepped or anything like that? And Austin, if you feel free to add on any questions with that I might be missing.
I'm just listening as well.
Yeah, no,
Because
honestly,
it's really interesting on you, Dan. You're like Avatar. You're literally just like so athlete. I feel like most of your training is it's like intuitive, isn't it? Like you have kind of like, I know I need to get these pieces done, but there's a feel to a lot of it.
they're definitely, I try to play
Less
by feel on
analytical.
most
And so
things.
I'm curious what happens when you take that. I call that like that's your great athletes. Your person on the start team is just better than everybody else, regardless of what they do. What happens when you take those and you put a little bit of the analytical with it? Does it enhance? Is that you're great that you're great? I don't know. I'm always curious to see these things. So yeah, I'm very interested in feedback.
No, for me, it's like I'm really good at the training aspect of it and the numbers game of that stuff, like loading training blocks and looking how to stack days when it comes to just the fitness
You know how
aspect
to
of it.
regulate. Yeah.
Yeah. But when it came to diet, it was more just like a, plug and play wherever I could, wherever time was would allow me to. But what this did was actually just like take the guesswork out of it. Like I had everything prepped. I knew where the time schedule was, and like if it's on, I'm the type, like if it's on the calendar, it's gonna get done. Like it has to get done at that time. So I planned everything effectively. Like I had to coach 2 classes that first thing in the morning, but I made sure to get the first meal in the day. As soon as I finished the 2 classes, or I'm sorry, I had an hour in between classes. Finished the first class, ate the breakfast in the between the 2 classes, then had taught one more class, rushed to the train, and then I had 4 hours on the train, so it was timed out perfectly. So that when I got onto the train itself, it was like, okay, train leaves at X time. Half hour into the ride, I do this, and then right at the back end of the ride, I have another meal. It's funny because I saw Lucas post that he had his meal in a plastic bag. I had my
Epic.
chicken and rice in a plastic bag,
Yep.
and so I'm sure the person next to me thought I was like a psychopath because I'm literally just forking rice and green beans and chicken out of a plastic bag, sitting there on the train next to him. But I timed it out so that like had that meal as soon as the train was like I think it was 2 stops away from destination. Had that next meal and like I had pre-salted everything so that the dosages had kind of matched
Perfect.
up the way I needed to. And then
Dosing salt.
dosing salt, yeah. I gotta, put an asterisk. I'm not dosing other things, just dosing salt.
Yeah.
And then, I remember I was like, okay, then I'm gonna get to the Airbnb, and then I wanted to obviously watch the elite race that night. So I knew I had timed it perfectly so that okay, I have another meal right before I head over to the elite race. So then same thing, out of the plastic bag, downed it. And then picked up a coconut water. Austin, you'll love that. I picked up a coconut water and had it had it walking around as I was at the race.
Try to draw the sodium in. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, honestly, it made my day a lot more like a lot easier because I wasn't thinking about like, okay, am I going to stop here and get this? Am I going to stop here and get that? It was like, okay, everything is here for me. I don't need to guess. Like I don't need to go and stop at like some random place and buy, you know, French fries or whatever
I still
whatever
need to
it may
get X amount of stuff in. Yeah.
yeah, I just knew that it was calculated, everything was measured the way it needed to be, and I just ate it the way it was, and I did the same thing morning up. Like, it was very
Yeah.
routine, and for me, like, I know how to prepare myself for a race physically. This is how I did it with the food aspect of it without having to do the other stuff.
Yeah. I think
So
there's something really powerful to that. And I just want to highlight it is that it's like Austin just said, you're such an intuitive athlete and you're really, you just know yourself and you know how to show up and perform.
Yep.
But when you have
High level,
structure
yeah.
and you have a checklist you can hit off, you're just really good at checking those boxes. You just need boxes to be filled in so that you can do it. And it does require a little bit of adaptation and, hey, I got to meal prep these things. I got to put it in a bag. I got to do all this. I'm eating out of a bag. And I can also see like maybe the argument of, well, don't you want to enjoy your trip? Don't you want to like eat the foods that are there? And like, yeah, I mean, there's time and place. You can do some of those things, but also at the same time, like, you know, you wouldn't be working with us unless you had a goal that you wanted to get better, right?
Mhm.
You know, we're not working with people that don't want to get better. That's the big thing. You and Lucas are here for a reason. So kudos
Mhm.
to you, man. It was badass to see all the food in that bag. Like
Mhm.
you're on the train, hooked up, ready to go. It's funny to hear that you're dosing salt.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was
Yeah.
cool.
Fun.
But
I like that.
so and kind of what you were saying, you had everything in baggies. Lucas, who is joining us from New Orleans, Louisiana for a wedding. Appreciate you making the time, Lucas. He posted on his Instagram story yesterday that he was eating yogurt out of a bag at the airport. And kind of talk us through that, Lucas. Like, how did you get stopped by TSA? Like, like putting it in the baggie? Did it feel weird? Talk us through it.
Well, first of all, we had a long travel day yesterday, so I was really worried about how I was gonna transport yogurt without it like either getting everywhere or like what was the best way to do it. So I asked my best friend ChatGPT. I said, "Tell me how to like get yogurt in the airport without it like going bad, getting warm." Because I needed to hit 2 of those little baggy meals,
Yep.
and I had to freeze it a couple nights before, and I put it in the bags, freezed it, like flattened it out, so it was like little like
Smart.
ice packs, and then basically just put those in my backpack with me in the airport. And then by the time I actually had to eat them, they were thawed out, so it worked
Solid.
out. And then I just put like the granola, everything else separate, but. Luckily, I mean, I didn't get that many looks. I don't think. I mean, I don't really care about what
Right.
if
Yeah. No.
people
No.
are
No.
gonna judge me. So, yeah, like Dan was saying, like it's so much easier to just like pull that out of my backpack, eat it versus looking around Terminal B trying to figure out where can I get these macros for the day or this
Yeah.
meal, and it's just like it was way easier.
Dude, that's such a good point. It's so hard to walk into an airport and you're like, dude, what do I eat? And then if you're like Austin and I, you start looking at the ingredients list of what's like in some of these places, like maybe even in the little like kiosk, and you're like, dang, this is horrible. Like I should not eat this. But it's also it's almost really good practice too, because you know, for you, Lucas, you right now it's HYROX, but you've also done marathons and you do other races. You've talked about potentially Ironmans and things like that. So practicing even the little things, just going to a wedding, practicing how to like maneuver this and getting a little bit more comfortable with it, so that when you get to where you need to go, you can recover better and just show up without maybe being like lethargic or like, you know, some of those symptoms that you can experience. You know, for me, it was typical, and we'll get to the point where like I took the flight from here to Phoenix and I fasted the whole thing. Like I fasted for like 10 hours that morning. And then when I got there, I had my probiotic, you know, mixed that up, gave it 30 minutes. And then I had my bone broth, gave it 30 minutes. And then I got my breakfast, which was in a baggie in the backpack. So it just starts becoming like a ritual. And then I was able to thankfully express my fitness the way I wanted to express it in Phoenix because I got off on the right foot. So it's cool to just be able to practice these things. You know, you wouldn't show up to HYROX without ever practicing wall balls, would you?
Right.
I mean, so it's the same thing with these things. And also when you get a little bit more nuance with like gut health and gut training, intra carb stuff, everything in between. So it's a lot of fun. What are your thoughts, Austin?
It's just cool to see. I mean, like Dan, we played with you. You've always used carb powder, so we left it in the race. I
Yep.
normally don't use that ever. And so I'm curious to see, like, I've been using it personally again. You know, I work with 2 different coaches for myself. Like, I'm a nerd. I like to learn. And I
Mhm.
don't need to go do a 10-hour Ironman or this, that, the other. I like to learn and I like to do stuff. When I do stuff, I learn stuff. But I've
Mhm.
been really curious going back and forth between like Rice Krispies versus like dextrose and digestibility of them and looking at the two because it either helps or it doesn't. Like I don't think there is a such thing as you just stay in the middle. Like it's either getting better or it's getting worse. Like I remember athletes in season, oh, we're just going to try to maintain. I'm like, there isn't such a thing. You can try, but you're probably going to lose some stuff too. So don't say it's maintenance. Why would I go waste my time to have it go down? What if I could do a little bit? Maybe I just made this much gain in season versus this much in the off season. Well, go win. What does that look like? And so I think that's really curious, thinking about all these things. What this is this is just like the start of those when I'm looking really a lot deeper into the world of HYROX. I've got to see this in other sports, CrossFit, baseball. Like you can see the body and how it responds in so many different ways. HYROX is just such a different type of athlete. The requirements, the different things you guys do, it'll be very interesting over time to really see, because if everybody sits there and studies long enough, you eventually come to a conclusion on about 99% of the same things. And so I'm curious to see what those are over the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, what do you guys think is possible in the sport? Like realistically, what is a number that you guys see getting hit in the next, I don't know, 5 years?
I
Talking
see
about
some
in general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say I see somebody, a solo guy, eventually breaking that 53 mark, which is just unheard of,
Yeah.
because that pacing is just crazy to do. But I think the way that these guys are progressing and now going, you see a lot of these guys are now like leaving their full time jobs and becoming full time athletes, and like it's like anything else. Once you full on go full tilt into this thing with the science, with the financials behind it, like the numbers are just gonna get better. And same thing with the doubles races. Like the 48 is the low. Like I was racing in Miami on the same course when those guys were running by, and I thought I was running pretty fast. They blew by me. I thought I was walking, bro. Like literally just poof, right by me, and I was like, that is unreal."
It's like a race
But
car.
the fact is now that the standard for doubles Elite 15 is in the 40s. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
just the standard number. If you want to even sniff a podium, you need to be in the 40s, which is ridiculous for that type of a concept. So I see guys dropping into some crazy numbers, like definitely 48 and then below 48 you'll start to see like reoccurrences, because now you're getting guys that are jumping from other sports, jumping from other practices, and realizing like, no, this is the thing right now. So like you're seeing these just crazy level runners, crazy level athletes just coming out and just dropping the hammer on this thing. And then on top of that, you have companies investing in equipment specifically for HYROX. Like now
Yep.
you have Puma just dropped the shoe. You have Adidas just dropped the shoe. I know Nike is sniffing in the background like, no, we're going to come and just put you all out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
And they're right.
And you know what I mean? Like, because they have such financial backing for it. But like once the equipment starts to match the effort and starts to match the things, it's like golf. Like back what 20, 30 years ago, these guys were only driving the ball 200 some plus yards. Now 300 is like you're on the low end. So
Yeah.
it's like just think about like once monetary investment comes in, once science comes in, the numbers just start to just keep coming down.
That's a great point. I actually heard something the other day. I think this NFL combine that just happened, there was like the fastest 40 times that like a collective group has ever had. But if you backdate a little bit, when kids started to get more individualized right away with speed work, plyometrics, and working with a coach at a young age, those kids are now adults going into the league, into the NFL. So when some of these people start specializing, like kids, maybe like 10, 12, 11, 13 years old, or even getting into their young teens, start specializing in quote unquote HYROX, or at least HYROX adapted workouts, they're just going to make adaptations you can't keep up with because they started so young.
Started young.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good point.
That was the whole philosophy at the gym for ever that we were running in Clinton. It was long-term development. If we could start these kids young enough, I mean, the same year that we had our first college female athlete jump a 30-inch vert was the same year we had a high school girl jump the 30-inch vert. The high school girl started though when she was a sixth grader. And then the college girl didn't start until, she was a freshman in college, because had never met.
Yeah.
But they hit it at the same time. They trained about the same amount of years. You start to see in like systems, you can see patterns and how long things take. And yeah, it's interesting. I agree. Start young, and you'll see people going and farming 800-meter AAU track athletes for HYROX at some point.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
it will
Sure.
happen. It happened in CrossFit. It'll happen the same in HYROX.
What about you, Lucas? Do you agree, or what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why it seems like every major in the elite races, there's a world record like that's almost broken, or they're just teetering on it. It's every single, like Phoenix, Alex was so close to his own. I think it was his own record.
Yep.
And then in DC, Cole Learn was on pace for a little bit until wall balls.
I didn't even think he was
Yeah, I
watching
know.
like early on. I was like, no way. And then he got to wall
Yeah.
balls. I'm like, he's on record. He's about to break the world record. Like, I was like, what?
Yeah, and I think lots of new pacing strategies are now coming out. They're trying different things, especially in the back half, like James Kelly has been doing recently, and he's just been like crushing lunges and wall balls and then just blows everybody out of the water the
Yep.
last few minutes. I think new strategies are coming out, and the longer that HYROX is out there and people know about it, there's more that they can learn. The training styles are gonna be a little bit more dialed in, because there really isn't the best way to train for it right now. Still, even after being out for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So I think in the next even 2, there'd be dramatic increase.
You know, man, that's such a good point, and it kind of leads me into why we do this. There's such an underserved part of performance nutrition, especially in HYROX. You hear so many schools of thought, and who knows what's right. All we know, Austin and I, and we'll scream it from the rooftops, is whoever can recover the most often, whoever can recover the best most often, will be able to make the most training adaptations more often. It's as simple as that. Can you
If
recover
you can
well?
train more and you can recover from more, you're going to get better in the sport. Look at any sport. The highest
Yep.
level of it, they can just handle more volume. It just is. But
Exactly.
we don't always have like, oh wow, there's no financial concern. All my relationships are great. I live in this box and nothing ever happens around. Like, that's not real life. And so I think it's learning even in the midst of those. Like, how do you? Because if we look at the greatest of athletes, the ones that have made the accomplishments, and it's not like everything was perfect. More often than not, it wasn't. So you start to see ideal conditions are actually not wanted. Like, you want to have some of the challenges, just figuring out how to deal with those and overcome those as time goes. I think it really just comes down to that at the end of the day. Because if you can do that, you'll recover faster. You recover faster,
Yep.
you can go do more.
And it's personalized. That's the big thing. Like, Dan, your schedule, it can change on a dime. It's different. Everything happens like that. Lucas, you know exactly what you're doing every single day throughout the week. You know how often you go to the office, you don't go to the office. Austin could have to pick up his baby at any time and like be like, hey, I got to play dad for a little bit. And I didn't know I was going to have to do that. And then, but we're people who are just trying to get better at the sport. When you start looking at it like at an elite level, Hunter McIntyre lives in a house in Malibu, and he can go train all day. He can do what he wants to do, all these things. But then you look at somebody like Jack Driscoll, who's got to go be, 2-3 days in a row at the firehouse, and then he's got to go run a race a day and a half later, and then he's got all this training in between. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's days and lives are
both.
so much different. It's just how can we fit in the nutrition side to make it work for them, because everybody's different. How can we get their gut to respond best? How can we get them to recover best? And how can we just let them express their fitness to the best of its ability given external stressors? So it's so much fun. I love talking about it. It's so much fun.
That'd be a good question. I wonder, like, once you get to that point and you have everything, I wonder if people like it better or if they actually lose part of the hunger that they had when they didn't have all the resources and everything available.
What do you
I think
think,
it can be a
Lucas?
double-edged sword.
That's a good question. I mean, for me personally, I feel like I would still need that hunger in me. Like, I don't think it would ever be perfect for me, no matter what the
I'd
circumstances
always
are.
do something still. Yeah.
About you, Dan?
I'm always the type of person, like, doesn't matter my result. And like, people have told me, like, dude, you need to celebrate these things a little bit more. I'll finish a race and I'll tell you the first 5 things I did wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it could be great. Everything could be fine. Like, as soon as I crossed and like I did 100 unbroken in open weight, the
Yep.
first thing I said, I was like, well, it was an open weight. So yeah, I expected to do that. So like, but that's just like, that's always been who I've been. Like, I've just, as soon as I finish something, I'm like, okay, well, I saw that this, and this could improve to then get that incrementally better. Even if it's like a 1% better, for me, I'm like, okay, well then I can get 1% better. Like, for me, it's never been satisfied. Like, I did an ultra marathon in September, and I was like, first thing I did, I finished the race, and I was like, okay, well, now I got to look for another one that's further than that, because I was like, all right, I did 100 kilometers, now I got to do 100 milers. So I was like, okay, 100K, cool, done. Take a break from that, but then I was like, okay, now I just got to move on. Next one. It's always just the next up mentality for me. It's like, and like, many people told me, like, dude, like, why don't you just like relax for a second? I'm like, I don't know. This is just who I am. It's how I've always been. I
Right.
can't change it. I can't turn it off. Like, you know what I mean? I've run certain things, done certain things, and then you're just like, okay, well, what's next? Because for me, it's the process of everything. If I'm not training towards something,
Amen.
it's kind of sitting on my laurels, like I'll go crazy. My ADHD will just
Like a
pop
North
off.
Star. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the little things, you know what I mean? Like my worst ADHD trait is that I leave my cabinet doors open all the time. I don't know if dude, it's
Me
so
and
bad.
my wife gets on to me at times. Yes.
Yeah, but like, but it's just like it's always for me, it's the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. When it's
Yeah.
training, when it's that. But like that's just how I've always carried myself.
You hit the nail on the head. I think it's the process, being process oriented.
Mhm.
And when you look at I hate using the dudes that are like this, but I don't think about other. You look at the winners. You look at MJ. You look at Brady. You look at Kobe. Like the dudes, just they may not have liked it all the time, but they were obsessed with just doing the work. Whether they were winning or whether they were losing, they were like, it doesn't matter. Like I got work to do. So at the end of the day, like you're right. It's a good question, Austin. Will we still have that hunger going into it? I guess it just depends. Do you enjoy doing the work or do you just enjoy the end result? Because I know for you, Austin, you love to freaking train, man. All you want to do is hang out with your family, train, and talk to people like us and help us. And that, like, you just want to do those three things. And that's awesome. And that's important. Same thing with me. I love to train, bro. Like, do I wish I could probably race more often? Sure. Maybe a little, like a race or two here, more there. But like, I'll just love getting after it. It's fun. It's like I enjoy getting up and challenging myself. Having Austin put something together that pisses me off in my programming, then I'm like, dude, this is bull crap. And then I do it and I'm like, that was hard. Like I love that stuff. It's so much fun. So that's a good question, Austin.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, like how many hours are you spending training and then how many hours are you spending racing?
Oh, it's not even close.
Like, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? 15 to 20 hours a week of training for 1 week. And then your race is ideally what, 59 minutes? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're really only training for a blip of time. So if you don't love the process of training, yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. That's a great point. That's a great
Yeah.
point. I like that.
Mm.
Austin, so Austin, as we're kind of transitioning from, okay, so Dan is coming out of HYROX DC and he's going to be doing, is it a pro doubles or pro solo?
Both
You're doing both
Double.
in April,
in
uh,
mind. Yeah.
in Miami. And then we've got Lucas, who is, we've got some life events coming up. Lucas is in New Orleans for a wedding right now. He has his own wedding coming up, I think in May. And then he's going to go on a honeymoon, and then he's going to go get sub 60 in New York City. So, with all of those different transitions, we'll start with Lucas first. Is how do you view just give me like a 30,000 foot view? How do you look at mapping out what's to come and how you would approach this like individual that Lucas is?
Mm. Like you were saying, like I'm a I'm a routine guy, so I like everything to be blocked off. And that's not from a weekly perspective, but I do, kind of go up into that bird's eye view and look at what I have to come in, I don't know, let's just say a 6-month period. So yeah, we had this one on the schedule. We had my wedding is in May, late May.
Mm-hmm.
The week after that, we're on our honeymoon in Florida, come back for a couple days, and then we go straight to New York.
Yep.
So I try my best to like start planning now, like while we're what are we, 2.5 months out,
Yeah.
about how my honeymoon's already gonna look, which is kind of crazy. Like I already hit up a couple gyms, like HYROX gyms there. I'm like, hey, I'm coming this week. I need to hit a couple sessions. Can I do that? I'm already like planning things so far in advance it's kind of unnecessary, but that's kind of how I function.
Yeah.
So,
And Austin, with that being said, how do you map out the nutrition for that? What does that look like?
So again, guys, y'all, when I say these things, it's just because you guys fit into certain avatars. Doesn't mean it's 100% true every single
Mm-hmm.
time. Lucas is over analytical. So his problem is his stomach will shut down his digestion. So you have to be careful with how much you put in there and then looking at things to try to get, yes, planning is great, but also being okay if there is no plan. How do we create that state of where it's like, we almost need Lucas to leave some cabinets open type of thing. Like everybody has strengths and weaknesses, if that makes sense. Like, yes, we want to keep our strengths. So keep the structure, keep the schedule, but how can we play on this weakness and bring it up? Because if we think back about it, let's think about team sports. It's always the weakest link of the chain. It's the same individual. It's the weakest link of that chain for the athlete. What's the part that's hardest? That's probably the part that we have to work on. And so I think the biggest thing on Lucas is, Gabe, you already know what I'm probably going to say on this. There's, oh gosh, guys, I've been nerding out on this. So it's an exometer. It's math that's putting me through all this, Gabe. It's like basically forcing me to learn this. Trying to not pass out on a bike erg the other day, you doing the super fast pedals and all that. I think you may have been doing that potentially too. But if we can get stress managed further on that way, so thoughts, it's an internal stress of like, man, I need this plan. This needs to be there. Like this, it needs to be this control. Because there's this, it's the yin and the yang, the good wolf, the bad wolf. There's this theme we see throughout all kinds of things of surrender and control. Like there's a balance of it. But I think leveraging a tool like breath work, breath retention holds, yeah, from a physical perspective, we get enhanced EPO. So it's like you guys are at altitude, but you're not really at altitude. You're getting the same benefits of creating more red blood cells, but in a way we can do it anywhere. I think that's really huge. Because at the same time too, when we look at other physiological adaptations, think mentally. If we calm the body at a more state, then all it's going to do is take in the food, absorb more. You're going to recover from training faster. You're going to recover from each meal faster. The whole point is always just recovery. Like that's all there is in the world of HYROX, in the world of powerlifting, bodybuilding. I don't care what it is. Eventually, it all just comes down to recovery. Like recover from it. Yes, you have to know how to push yourself. I'm not talking to that. We're talking about higher level athlete, not just like I've never done anything. It's you eventually have to be able to recover from doing whatever it is to keep doing more of it and so forth. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that I think will really be cool to see, because your Lucas's HRV will pop up. You're like, I think you'll sit. That'd be a large game. But I saw mine go from 60s to 150s. I think yours, if you already have all the endurance background and everything, that's what helped me. Going from powerlifting to endurance helped me significantly. From being like, this all the time to just like kind of chilling. Like I would prefer to just go for a nice little walk and like, that's my day. Like, I would love to do that these days. I don't want to necessarily always get under a barbell anymore. Still do, but I really think that's going to have a drastic benefit. It'll take the food, more food will be able to come in. If we get more food, we get more substrates. That helps HRV. I would love, there's something, I'll mention it too at the end. I'll text you guys. Rhythm Labs. I really want to see it because I'm curious on, in particular in the HYROX world, SHBG levels. So elevated SHBG, if we're seeing that, I know you're probably usually underfueled. Like it's an easy sign for me to be able to tell that right off the bat and go, hey, for sure we need some more carbohydrates in your diet. Hey, maybe we need to pull your fiber down a little bit. Like I don't know. I just see there's so many options to get better and actually like seek after that. I think it's only whenever people quit looking for answers that they stop finding them. As long as you're looking for them, they show up, whether it's from a friend, whether it's from a book, whether it's from an article, whether like they show up. I think our job is to figure out how can we be aware of those things showing up more often. I think food
Dude,
just
great
helps with
point.
that.
Great point. I mean, you look at it, excuse me, from like even in the elite field, are a lot of those guys really looking for answers to get better, or are they just like, I see other guys doing this, so I'm just going to do that, or this is what I think is right. Like, are you actively seeking a way to get better? So that's a great point. And kind of before I shift over to, we talk about Dan in a sec, but also like with Lucas, it's just a practice of being mindful. I think is kind of what came up in my mind there, Austin, is
Yeah.
can you recognize in the moment that I need to like, hey, whoa, let me slow down. It's all good. How can I pivot? And it's practicing. And that's easier said than done. Like Lucas, I spiraled. I was just telling Austin, like I've had some different stuff with my own nutrition come up, and I think you're just stressed with some of the business stuff we've been working on. I kind of had a moment for like 4 or 5 hours the other day, like a couple weeks ago, where I was like, dang it, dang it, dang it. And I was just down in the dumps. But then you take a step back and you're like, all right, chill out. Let me reset myself, and then you can get back to green. So it's just a mindfulness thing, and it's practice, and it takes time, and you're always doing it. You're never not doing it. So pivoting to Dan, Dan just got done with DC. He's going to be doing Miami. What are you looking at with Dan going in from this race to the next, and then also looking at HYROX New York City about 7-8 weeks after Miami?
I want to, Dan, what do you think? It's just like Luke's at first, because that's another big caveat that I think people miss. Like in team sports growing up, I wasn't given a chance to like ever express what I thought. Like very rarely as an athlete was I asked. It was just, here's what it is and here's what we do. So I would prefer, because the athletes know something, to actually ask them first, like, what do you think? Because that sets a course.
Yeah, no, for sure. But no, what I'm thinking now is like, well, the first like 2 weeks of what I noticed quickly was the gut health. Like, honestly, my stomach just made it was a lot better. I wasn't dealing with like bloating things from all this, the random things that I was eating and stuff like that. With having that actual schedule, my stomach regulated itself. And I remember you told me, you're like, dude, there's gonna be a little bit of a cut at first, and you're gonna see a little bit more of a shred at first before we start to really add things in. And I noticed it, especially in the pictures. I was like, damn, dude, I look peeled today. But but no, I was like, all right, cool. Like that was dope. But then like now going into this next thing, it's like, okay, now I know. Now I know exactly how to put things together. And like obviously the communication has been on point with everything. It's like, okay, now we need to increase the sodium because we saw how that reacted into the system as we went through the 2 races in one day. But yeah, and then obviously with my schedule being a little sporadic as it is, it's at least I can, like, if I know a day or two before out, I can at least, okay, if I'm coaching 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., I can have the one meal before and then I'll have the meal after, get into that training. But like still having the carb powder in where I need something quick, adding the orange juice in it to increase the potassium has been great. Doing that's been phenomenal. And then now I know that going into Miami, I can have it like like an actual couple weeks of this where my system can really like go full tilt on it and I can prepare and train hard the way I want to. And then the beauty of going to Miami for me is that like my dad lives there, so I stay with him. So I can like
Yeah,
literally call
family.
him before, be like, hey, if you have time, like, can we grocery shop the moment I land? So then I'll have all of it in a fridge in the house that I don't have to think. You know what I mean? All the
Yeah.
meals be at home, prepared, ready to go. And then on top of that, I'm racing with a guy who on Saturday night in doubles who raced in the Elite 15 in DC. So it's
Let's
like it's
go.
just a good test of like, okay, I'm going to be
Where am I?
chasing a guy for an hour. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So having that other stimulus of just someone to really like move the needle for you, I think is also going to be a good push for me on heavy legs from the night before.
Dude, that's so cool. Like, that's awesome. You're gonna get so much belief in yourself if you didn't already have it coming out of
Yeah.
DC. It's like you're gonna surprise
No,
yourself on how
Dan
great you do.
doesn't. Dan just beats himself up after DC. It doesn't matter. It's 100 unbroken. It's
I
open.
know.
Not pro. It
That's
doesn't
so
matter.
true.
That's yeah.
So
Go
Dan's going to
ahead.
do 150 unbroken with a 30-pound ball before pro. There we go.
Yeah.
But no, as I'm listening, it's like, really, guys, all I try to do is I just listen. Like, that's all I try to do all day is I listen. And there's certain times where I can hear and certain times I can't. And I just try to figure out when I can hear, what am I doing, and keep trying to do that in my day. That's how I structure my day. The biggest on yours, there's this book. It's from Barry Ross. It's a speed training book. I need to send it to you. It's a little bitty book. It's not big, but MSF, it's mass specific force. We're gonna feed the ever living hell out of you. I think you'll take in over upwards of 4K calories a day, maybe even 45 going in. But the downside with that, if you gain weight but your strength doesn't come up, you run slower because it's mass specific force. The strength has to come up with that. And so I think this book will give you a really big push in regards to like one of the things I would be very curious going into really New York. There's 2 tests that could show you this. One's a deadlift and one's a sumo deadlift. They both show you hip function and they show you where strength and weaknesses are. Again, we go back to fixing weaknesses. We find what's the limiter between those two. If your sumo is really high and your conventional is low, your abs and your hamstrings are shit. You need to go fix them. Go do exercises that are really hard for your abs and hamstrings. Do them twice a week. Cool, simple. Do that the whole way until you get there. Same thing. Let's say you can't get into a sumo position. Wow, your hips are really effed up. You ran a whole lot. Cool. Well, now you're losing movement economy because your body can't transfer force to this position. You're inhibiting your recovery because your body just won't function properly. Cool. Go fix the things for that. Like it gives you this, you can read it. You can just read the body. But if you make the wrong mistakes when you make an adjustment, so usually one adjustment has another adjustment that goes with it. Like if you eat more food, well, then you have to make sure you stay as strong. Well, here's the thing, you can recover because you have the food in place. So you can do a hard strength session. You can take one of those on. So if you do gain 3, 4, 5 pounds of tissue, like your body weight is holding 3, 4, 5 pounds more. Well, if your deadlift went up 70 pounds in your weaker deadlift, I guarantee it outruns that from a force perspective. It doesn't mean don't do all your other stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It means we go back to the beginning. Whoever can do the most and recover from it is going to be better one off. I think it really is just athletes. Like if I was to break down and go, who's going to be the best individual in sport of HYROX, if it's true in what I learned in the strength conditioning world, it just comes down to your GPP. How big is this base of fitness you carry? What is your max strength like? What is your explosive strength? What's your box jump record? What's your deadlift record? What's your 10K time? What's your 2K row? What's your, like, you can see these things and figure out like, where am I weak at versus a population around me? Okay, go get better at those. I'm already beating them here. Well, let me beat them on there too. Now I've got the advantage in all aspects. You just want to create advantages. So I think Dan's, it'd be MSF, mass specific force. You're going to get food, so we'll take advantage of it and use it. Lucas is, it's all different. Like everybody's different. And I could be wrong on that. Dan, you might go in and you're like, I'm going to try to heavy deadlift, and you deadlift 500 pounds. I'm like, okay, I'm going to shut up and I'm never going to say anything about that again. But the reason I think that is like, I hear you go like, well, yeah, I did a 100K run. Lucas, your 2K, it let me know your strength as well. Like I'm not fit. Like I'm not in great shape. Like I'm not fit, but it's not like I'm going and running a 103 HYROX. I went and did one in an hour 15. Like that's how long it took me. That was me giving a great solid effort. Like that's all I got. At the same time, my 2K I can go a 638. My 2K row. And that's like not. So what I say is what you have, you want the opposite of, but keep what you have too. Keep the endurance, keep those big aerobic bases. It lets you guys train like you do. It lets you recover at such high aspects. But if as an athlete, we look at it and we're like, okay, what are these 5, 6, 7, 8 things? Okay, let me test them and see where they're at. Where am I at in regards to the collective as a whole? Oh, well, the elite 15 they're strong. Like Meg Jacoby's strong. She's really freaking strong. There's a reason she got to have good time in the sport for as long as she did. I think she gets in her own way at times, but I think she's really strong. And I think that helps because strength also sets up a base of recovery. Your aerobic base and your max strength base, if those are high, you have these big pillars to build on to get this high peak. I know that was a long tangent, but it was like, I could see it. I'm not saying, Dan, go in every day and do a heavy set of, 1 rep on everything. I'm not saying that. I mean, like once a week, you do something that's heavy posterior and then you break it down. For example, you'll record a video 1 week of a regular deadlift. The next week you record a sumo. Okay. Which one was harder? Wow. Sumo was hard. I haven't done those in a long time. Have you ever done a sumo deadlift?
Fab. Yeah.
Thank God. Sure. Thank God. Okay.
Plenty.
Perfect. That's perfect. Lucas, have you?
Honestly,
Sumo.
not heavy.
Light. Okay.
So we'll see.
Interesting. that was always the first thing that Shane, when I was in Cincinnati, he would test. When CrossFitters would come in, he'd test their hip mobility. So think about the sport of CrossFit, all their volume is here and here. There's nothing here. Like you don't get out. Think about the sport of HYROX, all the volume's here and here. It's the same thing. You do wall balls, you do lunges. It's all like this close little thing over and over and over. You run here and here and here. And so if the hip mobility if your hip function isn't great, you won't have the mobility for a good sumo deadlift. So you just literally can't access the parts of your body you need to even have a heavy lift. It might be 50, 60 pounds off. It's like, it's pretty simple to figure out what to fix.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So,
it's so cool.
Weird things.
I talk to you all the time, Austin. It was so cool to hear you talk about that because that was in its simplest form. We're just talking about deadlift variations. We're not even talking about other nuances that you and I go into, but it's so cool to know what you can fix on somebody's like a weak link that we talked about, how you can just look at 2 different things and how you can like literally branch an entire tree on how to get better just because you were able to identify a deficiency from 2 different lifts. And that's just 2 lifts. That's just 2 things. So really, really well broken down. as we're wrapping up this call, I really appreciate you guys being a part of this group. I think it's really, really fun to be able to have us all in different parts of our journey. We all have different backgrounds. I don't know. Lucas and I are kind of the same. We played baseball growing up. Like, we're both just a couple of slap dicks. You know how it goes.
Baseball culture, God.
I know. But it's just so cool to be able to have these conversations with you guys and to be able to help you along the way, and having Austin kind of lead the charge with all his knowledge. The dude is 29 years old and he's been doing this since he was freaking 18. So it's it's just so cool that we all get to bounce this stuff off each other. And as we progress, we talk more about the nuances of nutrition. Like with you, Dan, we're gonna feed you more. Lucas, we need to be more mindful about nervous system respect, and then how food helps that. So there's different levels to it, and we're all in different parts of our world. And it's just really cool that we can learn from each other, so that when we eventually do come to a crossroads where hey, I remember Lucas was there, I remember Dan was there, we know how to navigate that a lot better. So before we wrap it up, Austin, do you have any kind of final words?
I mean, I'll text everybody those things, but yeah, there was there's three things actually. I had a note, lab panels. Are you guys cool with that? If we pull a Rhythm lab, it's like $80, I think is what it is. You can, and it's a subscription. So you can keep the subscription and use it each month, or you can put it on pause until you're ready to use it again. That's what I do. It gives us the markers we want to see. I'm not going to see your glucose levels, but I mean, the majority of your markers I need to understand when in regards to like tweaking things, that gives me that. So I would think that would be sick if we're really looking to see just like any possible advantage we can take. I would love to see that. I think that'd be huge. But then two, I would say another one as well. I would love to see everybody do a test, like pick one test to see, because you guys are all sitting about the same times on your pro singles. 105, 10, like it's that 103, 105 range. Dan, what's your best pro single?
108.
Perfect. So we're sitting in ranges. What we want to figure out is who's good at what tests and who's bad at what tests that are HYROX specific. So not branching out, going off and doing a marathon. I don't need to do that. I mean, like one of my favorite, it's the one I sent you, Dan. I think that one would be really cool to see. It's I sent Dan, we're gonna label it Brittany. Brittany is her name.
What is it?
Brittany is looking for her man.
Yeah, 10 by 500.
You might not want to be Brittany's man, but hey, if you want to, you can go for it. It's 10 by 500 meter row. 1 minute breaks.
Oh yeah, you told me about this. Yeah.
1 minute breaks. That would be, you're going to see everything. You're going to see aerobic capacity. You're going to see threshold tolerance. You're going to see power outputs. You're going to be able to see the entire system under a microscope. Let's say one of you guys is 8 seconds ahead of the others on your average time. It's like, okay, well, why is he 8 above and I'm 8 behind? Like, now you can start to see this, so you can take a tweak. Okay, well, if I did this in training on this day, I adjust this here. You guys are going to be able to recover from anything. I'm not worried about that. I'll be on top of that. You guys just figure out how to push yourself hard and make sure that we're not pushing over the red line too. If your HRV drops into the 20s, we're sitting there going, what the hell's going on? Your heart rate's up in the 70s from 40s. Hey man, maybe it's a little much, but we will usually catch that much faster than that actually happens.
Yeah.
But I think that would be cool. I mean, there's different tests. Like one of them's a 1K max run, 500 meter 1-to-1, other big ones that I can think of in the sport. 3 sets of max pull-ups. I mean, that's a very generic one, but it's a great indicator of MSF, mass specific force. What is your strength level like? I think there's a bunch of different things we could tweak. I would be curious if you guys have a test you think would be really cool to see amongst you guys, like as a group, that you think would help y'all understand where to tweak training. Is there something y'all have that comes to mind?
I'd have to give it some thought. I would say immediately what comes to mind, but I don't know if it's really specific right now because, like, for example, I'm not in peak race shape right now. 400 meter 1-to-1, but that's closer to race day is when you test that. I would also say like a Miko's triangle.
That's what I was going to say.
Try to when we're talking about calories and average calories per round. That's a good one. And then I
And
do
that's
like,
longer. It's nasty. Yeah.
yeah, it's
There's less power
nastier.
behind it.
I also saw Dylan Scott has this thing called Survive for 55. It looks disgusting. It looks so gross. I'll send it to you, but
Okay.
it's a 55-minute workout. And so when you think about, those are two longer ones, Miko's, and then the Survive for 55. But when you do the 10 by 500 with 1 minute rest in between, I think that's a good starting point. We'll talk about Brittany. I think Brittany is a good starting point. It's short enough. It tests all those different things under that microscope that you were talking about. And then we have something to build off of from there. And then we can
And then
identify.
branch.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. I mean, 'cause that's what we're trying to do is I'm trying to let you guys leverage each other to figure out like where am I good? Where do I need help? Where like looking at those things, being able to use each other as test dummies in a way. Because let's say I like triples. If I get to put a training group together, I put 3 people because there's going to be one who's ahead, one who's in between the other two, and one who's at the end. And then if you
Mhm.
switch the exercise or the thing for the day, like, okay, that switches, then it switches. But it's always, if one person's ahead, the person in the middle is trying to catch them, the person under them are trying to stay ahead of, and vice
Yeah.
versa. Three's clawing for two, two's clawing for one. Like it puts a competitive advantage in place. You don't want to do that too often. I wouldn't do that more than once a week. That's a threshold. Like,
Yeah.
because you're coming into that day going like, I know everybody's going to, like, we're all going to see this. Like, I don't want to be last. I'm going to go as hard as I can. If you push
Iron sharpens iron.
competition too much, though, I think there's also detriment to it. Use things like CrossFit Mayhem with when they have a bunch of the games athletes in, like they don't try to compete in the workout because if they do, they fry themselves. The more
Mhm.
advanced you get in the sport, the less often you really need to go fry the tank.
Yeah.
It's harder to
I
recover
love it.
from. You limit your volume and so forth. So I don't know.
Uh,
Would that be cool for everybody? Just Brittany.
Yeah.
We do the
Yeah.
500 meter
That sounds
I'm with
good.
it.
Yep.
sometime before today's Friday, just before next Sunday.
Okay.
Can plan it out. Lucas, that give you enough time to think about ahead where to mix back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I would use it for a threshold for the week.
That sounds good. I know some of us got to get going here at the top of the hour, but I appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate you fellas hopping on and talking through everything.
Of course.
I'll go ahead and put everybody's socials in the description. Lucas does Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Dan's the freaking thirst trap king on Instagram. I love it. And then Austin, we can get you on Instagram as well. And you guys know me, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, but I'll throw everybody's bios and everything like that in the description. But I appreciate you fellas, and we'll be back soon. Have a good day.
Sounds good.